Hi, this is Ann White, the founder of the Creating Calm Network, and I'm here with Nadya Schubert. Nadya is a spirit channel, and what that means is she goes into an automatic trance, right? You do automatic writing. Explain how you do that, because it's kind of a mystery to most of us.
It is a mystery. It was a mystery to me for many years. It all began with a teacher that I was working with that told me that spirit would like me to write. And I challenged her and said, why would they want me to write? They know everything. And she said, because they want you to get the words out to the world. Well, push came to shove, and within a few months I decided to sit down with a piece of paper one day, or a pad, and say my affirmations, and I went to sleep sitting up. And when I woke up, I had 8 pages of handwritten writings based on what Spirit gave me. And that was the beginning. And then they decided to allow me to work on my computer in the same way. So I would go into my room, my office, and I would say my affirmations. And within seconds after the last part of the affirmation, I would feel this veil or this gauze-like cocoon wrapping around me, and I was off and running. I heard nothing. And when they were through, the veil would drop off, and I would wake up and see that there was a full page of writing typed with a beginning, middle, and end, and I would print it out and put it into a file folder until I was able to work with other mediums at that time once a week.
And understand what you were really doing.
And they would kind of explain something to me, because most of the time I was in a zone for a while even after the writing, and it could have been a day or two after the writing. So by the time I would read it to them, it would be a little more apparent, but then in a discussion group they would explain what it was really all about in detail, and as you do with me in your finite way and gentle way of explaining what I'm getting. I don't know why that works like that. I'm sure other people maybe are more clear-minded than I am, but this is the way it works.
And how long have you been writing with Spirit?
13 years.
And for our listeners or watchers, actually, this is the first time we're really trying this medium to do it with video, because people who listen to our shows say, well, this is great, but we'd love to see you. So this is an experiment, but we're going to see how it works. And if you are watching it, then it means that it did work, and we will do it again. So without further ado, Nadya, why don't you share a reading with us, and then we can talk about it.
All right, this is the reading I chose for the maiden voyage of my going on television on the computer. Let me just begin. It was written a year ago. Let me begin. How do you measure success? Is it luck that helps you to attain what you desire? Is it your efforts that make all that you desire happen? Is it destiny? And if so, do you believe that you have a destiny in the material world to attain whatever your destined path takes you on? Of course, it is not only how you attain that which was designed for you. Do you go about it consciously or semi-consciously or unconsciously? And how do you feel when you arrive at that point of recognizing that this was where you were supposed to be? Does it feel comfortable for you? And if not, do you feel that there is a need for you to carry yourself through the uncomfortable moments, knowing that what is waiting for you will bring you to a better place? And once you were able to withstand the difficulty of getting there, do you feel that this step was just the first of many designed for your growth and greater awareness of all things? Soothing your emotions as you begin to open to the many choices you have in life, filled with the adventure, if you will, of all things you may have not experienced before, and learning to trust that each step you take into that new and unknown world has been designed for the betterment of your present life and its future. For it is actually as if you are being driven by Spirit to points of a different kind of reality, one that will open to you like a rosebud filled with many layers, and learning to allow each layer to open that will correspond to the next step, and little by little building in you a greater desire to want to continue to view and feel the dynamics that each layer will offer, knowing that Spirit only wants for you to have the emotional freedom to allow yourself to explore without worry, without guilt, as some of those explorations may go into a range of things you were taught not to respect or follow. You will learn to allow your feelings to guide you in ways that you had not allowed yourself to do. Once you begin to open to the nuances of your feelings and remove your awareness from living only in your everyday practical ego mind, you will begin to flourish as you enter and learn to desire all things coming in from that spark that burns like a candle within, never turning off, always bright and alive as it shines with what is for your highest good. And as you begin to work with your spark, the effort will become less and less until there is no longer any effort at all. For you and your spark, that part of you that lives in your higher self, will have coupled in a way that will no longer feel like separation. And life will begin to flow as a beautiful river or stream with no rocks, no obstacles, just flowing smoothly towards the direction it was designed to go. In the beginning, as you work this way, you will feel the difference and notice it more and more as you allow yourself to open that door wider and wider until there is no longer a door, just a passageway, spiritually lit up for you to take your steps. Eventually, you won't even notice there is contrast. It will all become parts of the oneness. There will be a melding for the greater good of all that you are and all that you will continue to be as you explore with greater desire those parts of you that you never even knew you had. And welcome each and every day of your life with the joy and the knowing that there will be challenges and that those challenges will take you to a higher plane, one that you can stand on with confidence and greater interest as you begin to grow into your higher senses, always wanting to reach out for more as you realize that it will be never ending. For as you grow and reach those higher levels of awareness, so will you bring to yourself those who will bring to you the peace and balance in all things. And in your growth, you will have a greater desire to pay it forward. All that you have experienced and all that you embrace will now become what you may offer to others, near and far, as you begin to understand that you are part of a much larger circle, connecting from the material world to the spiritual world, always knowing that we are with you always, with love and support for your growth materially and eternally.
Beautiful. Thank you.
You're welcome, the Spirit would say.
And what I found interesting, as we're sitting in my studio, and I have crystal bowls over on the side. I have a complete set of crystal bowls. We have Jane Bacon, by the way, who is Joan. Yeah, we have Joan, too. Maybe Jane is a twin. We have Joan, who is doing our filming for us, and the music you're hearing is by Simber Lily Quinn. But when you were reading, the vibration was playing a crystal bowl. I could feel it, and I was trying to see which one was vibrating, because there is energy coming from the reading. You know, as you say, it's not just the words, but it's the vibration. So somewhere in there, I was feeling the vibration of the bowls as you were reading.
Wonderful.
So I thought that was
Very wonderful.
yeah. We've never done this before, but the bowl was singing a little bit.
Really?
Yeah. What part struck you when you were reading?
What part struck me when I was reading?
Anything stand out to you, or were you zoned?
The fact, and I was zoned, but the fact that you really understand after you read this or feel what the reading is bringing to me is that I really don't have the control that I always thought I had.
Mm-hmm.
And that there is a bigger picture that I'm beginning to be able to understand and even see that I never did before. That I'm taking the steps now to allowing myself to truly embrace and enjoy the writings in a way that I haven't done before. And I thank you for that. There's a great affinity I have for you in a lot of areas, but this area was very important to me all these years. And I always felt guilty not being able to produce and to develop that whole part of what this brings to me and get it out there globally. I just didn't have whatever it took to do it on my own. And when you came into my life, it began, and it's continuing, and I'm loving every time we're together doing a show, whether it's on the radio or the television.
Are you loving this?
I'm loving it now.
Okay, cool.
I'm feeling really cool about this.
Okay,
I'm
good.
glad we did it now.
No, we're not done.
Okay.
One of the things I liked, they talked about separation. You will be coupled with your spark in a way that you will no longer feel like there's a separation. And I think we're coming into the global shift that people talk about is the realization that separation is an illusion. The fact that you and I are separate beings, that's an illusion. Mm-hmm. Because really we are one energy vibration. It's material over here. I've gathered my material self. You've gathered your material self. Joan has gathered her material self. But really, we are all one energy field, and our energy affects each other. For example, you were just saying today when you stopped to pick up some lunch for us, there was a very negative energy in front of you. His dark energy was probably affecting different people, but you were able to kind of push it aside and let your spark protect you.
Which was very interesting, something I wouldn't normally do. I would just probably get ticked off and say something.
Stab them with your fork.
But as Nadya Schubert said, which I told you before too, about being one, we all breathe air and we all exhale air, and we're in a room together where the exhaling of our air is being incorporated into our bodies from each other. Mm-hmm. Again, bringing us together, connecting as one.
Yeah.
On a symbolic level maybe, or physiological level for that moment, but it shows. We are connected. We're breathing the same air. We're breathing each other's air.
Mm-hmm. And the fact that we have this connection, this energy connection, which again, as you're speaking, you're starting these balls to vibrate a little bit, but it doesn't mean that all energy is positive. For example, that man at the store was it was a negative energy field. And so we need to protect ourselves from negative energy just by either pulling back or doing a protection with us. But also when they talked about the spark, I bet when you felt his energy was dark. I bet he was like a dark mass there.
The minute I walked in, I felt it before I even got up to him.
Yeah. And where sometimes you meet people and they're like a bright light. You know, they just almost glow with a beautiful brightness. So I like that they were using the spark because they speak to us in vernacular that we understand.
That's true, but I'm wondering, I have met beautiful people that had a great spark and misunderstood that spark. I took it as if...
You misunderstood the spark?
I think I did, because I took it as if, well, why don't you come for dinner? We'll get together. And I'm thinking, and we'll get to know each other because the exuberance was so great, and on and on and on. Not realizing that this person really wasn't like that 24 hours a day. She wasn't like that every day. That there was physiological problems with her to begin with. So I wasn't reading that, and I didn't get the message that this was occurring. But I did invite these people for dinner, and I never heard from them again. But up until that point, it was this whole, you're so great, and we could get, we can do this, and how does that work? I had no warning whatsoever. Totally taken in by this energy field, this great, huge energy field. But what energy was that?
Exactly. And one of the things that you especially need to be cautious of, because you're such a channel, you vibrate at a much different level than many of us, and you bring in forces that sometimes you need protection from.
Probably.
And when you and I are together, every now and then I'll see an energy field that's like nosing you over, and I think when we become more aware of energy, sometimes we need to also protect ourselves.
Well, you're right.
Like practice safe energy,
Right.
wear a condom.
I'm doing that every day today.
What,
Every day, no. Every day. Well, this is my condom. I say my affirmations. But because I did say them, and I said them a couple of times, this man didn't disturb me as much. Had I not said that, I think that I would have been really upset. And it didn't really affect me at all. It does work. And I'm thinking I should have done this every single day.
Yeah.
And be the bumper guard, around myself with my guides. And if I know for sure I'm going to meet a negative person, surround them with light and send them affirmations so that our bumper guards can touch, and that's it.
I like that.
Nothing else
cards.
That's the way I used to think
That's
of it.
a good way to do it. One of the things they say in this is that when we can realize we're being driven by spirit, and sort of like when we can let go and go with that flow, then we don't get caught up in worry and in guilt and angst, because those are things of past and present, whereas Spirit leads us in the now. And that's the key, I think, in working with Spirit, is connecting, because it's going to unfold the now. When you're riding that wave of Spirit connection, you're not going to worry, you're not going to fret, you're not going to hold guilt, because, again, those are past and present.
So we learn to let go of the past, knowing that it's just a waste of energy to begin with, because we're never going to get anywhere. But yet know the past.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like knowing history. We can do well now knowing past history of even this country, theoretically, and not do the same things again.
Right, let it be your teacher.
So, right,
Yeah,
exactly.
teacher, but not a weight. Not a
Exactly,
weight.
don't drag it around with you.
Mhm.
Right, exactly.
There was a story that I read, and I think it's Richard Bach in one of his books. I can't find it again, but it was about a little sea creature in a river, and the water was blowing, so he's holding on to a branch that's on the bank of the river. And as he have you heard this? As he holds onto the branch, the water's going, he's bumping on the rocks and bumping the river, and he's not going to let go because he's holding on, because he's afraid. And finally, a sea creature swam by and said, "What the heck are you doing?" Because he's bumping and bumping and bumping. And he goes, "I don't want to let go. This is what I know. This is everything I've always had in my life. I've lived on this branch." And the sea creature says, "Just let go for a minute and see what happens." And as he lets go, there's no more bumping, because he's in the river now. And I think that's how I feel when I'm connected to Spirit. When I'm connected, it's a beautiful flow. I'm soaring. Things are coming clear. It unfolds. It's when I hold on to what I know that you start bumping to the rocks and the material things. So it's, I think, a lesson to learn how to just trust, connect, and flow.
And give up the old stuff. Give up the stuff we were programmed to believe in what ways we were programmed to believe in.
And it's, I think, part of our humanness is we still reach out and hold on every now and then.
Yeah.
And I still do that.
Yeah.
But the minute I do it, I feel the ride gets bumpy.
So you feel the difference.
I know the difference. I know when I'm disconnected. It's when I hit like a rock or bumper, or like doors close and bad things happen, then I think, I'm steering the ship. I'm in control now. And as soon as I let go and let Spirit take over, we start.
And it's wonderful that you can actually feel the difference.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just what's starting to happen to me after all these years, because I never paid attention to the difference.
Yeah.
So I suppose that some people can learn more quickly and adapt more quickly, and then there's people like me that probably take years to get it when everyone else gets it for me. You know what I'm saying?
And I think that even when we get it, you can't really hold on to it forever. You're always working to keep it.
Right.
Because just part of our human frailty, I mean, maybe there's some monk somewhere in some mountain who's there in the zone, but I think most of us in the human world hold on again and get bumped and have to say, okay, let go. We have to sometimes consciously, we can stay in the zone longer, but I don't think we can ever say, I've achieved, I'm there. Because life will just
Because
smack
nothing
you
is in
around.
concrete anyway in the physical world. I don't know about the alternative world, but in the physical world.
No, my spirit guides have such a good sense of humor. I remember one day, it was a beautiful day, and I was walking down the street thinking, I was younger then, I was thinking, I am so hot. I am so cool. I am just the coolest, I don't know why but I was just feeling full of myself. And I was walking past a crowd, they're all sitting down at a restaurant, and there must have been a speed bump I didn't see. Because not only did I fall, but it was one of the falls where you flop down on your face, your feet fly up, and
Right.
I mean, it was a disastrous fall. I was covered in gravel, and I thought, thank you. I deserve that.
And how old were you?
I was probably, I was 40, I wasn't a kid. But I remember that so well because it was just an odd feeling to feel so full of myself and then to be smacked down. And that was the first thing I thought as soon as I recovered from hitting the ground is, thank you, I needed that.
Okay.
Because I realized I was being full of myself.
I understand. I had a similar situation when I was in my 20s and moved to New York, living in Manhattan. I thought I was the hottest thing that ever walked on earth. I mean, I just thought I had the right clothes, my hair, my makeup. I thought I was really cool. I had boyfriend after boyfriend. My mother thought I would have to go to Japan to find a husband. And
I'll leave that one alone.
moved to New York. And one day, and I looked around, and one day, when you cross the street in Manhattan, there's 500 people, crossing the street at the same time. You either cross or you get crushed. So as I'm crossing the street with 500 people, I'm looking around, and even the lowest worker bee, as they say, was dressed looking like Chanel, and I felt like a farm girl, and I'm thinking, oh my God, what would make me think I'm so special? And then I looked around and I thought, just because I thought I had great clothes and great hair and all of a sudden, little by little, I began to realize, is that what makes me so special? I don't want to think that that's the special part of me, and I don't want people to think they want to like me because I have that special part of me. There's got to be more to me than that, and that was a big wake-up call. All these people, and where am I? I'm just one little person, and I'm not the sharpest person in the crowd, and I don't have the best clothes.
Do you think it was spirit that opened your eyes to see the brilliance or the spark of even, the person who's maybe working on the street as somebody's doing construction?
This beautiful girl. I mean, she was someone I saw in the company I worked for. She was like in the mailroom, was dressed in a beautiful suit and shoes, but she had a glow in her. She was like happy. And just in this crowd of people that was pushing her all over the place, she was just very happy, like she was ignoring the whole thing. And me, I was like right in the midst of the whole thing. I wasn't ignoring anything. It upset me. But she was very happy, and she was glowing. She had her own inner happiness.
I think there is a glow.
Right, and because of that, maybe that's why her clothes look good. I'm sure they didn't cost a lot of money. But there was just this whole persona of this person, and I thought, and I think I'm sharp. You're this person, and it went from there.
Yeah.
It was I think spirit comes through to you all the time, and they try to come through to you in a way where you would understand that they're coming through to you. And some people do, they get it right away. And it took me a long time, but little by little, all these years as I go back and thinking of all the different things that have occurred and how they happened and how they came to me, I have to say, spirit had to be involved in this, and I never saw it. So this is like the beginning of being a new child. Working with you, getting my books out, working on this new book every day, has made me feel as if I can just shed all the other stuff. Say, okay, I enjoyed it while it was lasting. I learned what I needed to learn, but now I'm in a new world of learning. And I'm allowing myself to go there. Even as I'm speaking, I'm thinking, I am doing this, aren't I? It's not talk. I am doing this. And I thank Spirit for being with me at this point in time in this room, for keeping my head on straight so that I can stay with my thoughts and not go off track. That's it.
But if I see you nose over, then I'll just know.
Please.
Yeah. One of the things when they talk about how to measure success, I think it was odd because I never know what we're going to read, and sometimes you don't know because we're going to do something very different today,
Right.
was that, as you know, in building the Creating Calm Network,
Right.
that is something, first of all, the whole thing was from Spirit. The idea even came from Spirit. It wasn't even my idea. I never would have thought to do something like this. I was really trying to just teach and write my books and go on like that. So I got this download to build a network, to gather people all around the world who have Spirit ideas, or inspirational or motivational. Some might not even call it Spirit. For example, if we get a holistic person on how to raise healthy kids or how to eat healthy, but it's all to make us really have the very best life we can make. But in building this, there is that, how do you measure success? And the other day, it was just the pure download of sheer terror. And I think anytime we're trying something new, there's this, yes, 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 oh my God, I'm scared. And so you step back, and that's part of being human. But the beauty of when I had that terror is right after that I would get Spirit messages like, one, you're closer than you think. And what was it? I forget the one Elias said, you're ready to blast off. Or so Spirit takes care of us.
And just at the right moment.
Yeah. And I wonder if even, the fear that I had, that could either come from being that I let go and got my old ways back for that moment, or Spirit says, let me just let you feel the fear for a little bit. Let me let you feel it.
I truly believe that that's what happened.
Yeah.
So that's part of your growth and your knowledge of all these things too, that you physically can imprint now how it feels with what you preach or what you talk about to people and help people with.
So,
And talk about that as far as that. I think you should also mention the fact that you're going to be doing these helpful things in the form of...
Is this a commercial?
Well, it could be a little infomercial within my hosting time.
So
please,
we're going
bring
to be
that up.
doing Magnifying Your Magnificent Self.
Yes, and
coming
I'm so-
soon, and it's a group coaching with me, helping people to magnify the magnificence of their own self. And really, that was one of those spirit things. I made a mistake. I had written
Right.
down the program is going to be Manifest Your Magnificent Self. I had talked about it as Manifest Your Magnificent Self, and then I go to buy the URL. I buy Magnify. And then I go to make the program and I write Magnify again. And I'm thinking, what the heck? Did I have like a brain fart? And then I thought, magnify is the perfect word. Because manifest is you're bringing something in that you don't have. Magnify is we're going to take that beautiful spark that you have and just let it shine. So again, thank you, Spirit.
And it's going to be so wonderful. I can't wait till it starts. I am so happy for her. She is the perfect conduit for all those things. People
With
will
spirit.
be very, very,
With
yes,
spirit,
with
yeah.
spirit. And people will be, yes, definitely with spirit. And people will be very lucky to have her do this with them.
Is this where I go?
That's it, kiddo, and you're entitled to do it, okay? You worked
No,
hard.
you know what this is? It's where I go, thank you. Because I think when you're connected to Spirit, don't you find that you go around saying thank you?
Yes, I do, more and more.
Yeah, and I have ADHD, so I'm taking a little. But when I had my son, our favorite book was Good Night Moon.
Mhm.
Did you ever have Good
Sure.
Night Moon? Have you ever Good Night Moon, Good Night this, good? As a little kid saying good night to everything in this room.
Good night.
I feel like that because I'm going around. Oh, thank you for my office. Thank you for my car.
I just came from
Thank
yoga
you.
today.
Yeah, thank you.
I as soon as it's over, I wait till Chris, I take at St. Petersburg Yoga if anyone's from the area, and Chris was the teacher today.
You were just a little sitting there like a little
I'm
commercial.
paying it forward.
And here's your
I'm
cup
paying
you
it
got
forward.
from Panera.
Yes, and that was where I learned my little lesson today. And when we're through, I sit there in a posture with my head down, thanking Spirit for bringing me here, thanking Chris for teaching, and thanking I was coming here, and thanking Ann for bringing all that she's brought into my life, and for Joan being able to have the time to film this. And when I got through thanking everybody, I felt so good that I was able to thank someone for all these things that were happening to me, for me, and around me. But I do that, and it feels very, very good.
And sometimes, my background is I'm a rabbi, I'm clergy,
Right.
and people will say, I don't pray. And I'll say, do you ever say thank you? Yes, that's a prayer.
Right.
That's a prayer. That's one of the best prayers you can say is thank you.
Acknowledge, and I always try to acknowledge Spirit. When things happen, I'll say, thank you for bringing this to me, or thank you for letting me know. I may not always go along with it, but I'll thank them for doing it. And I think they appreciate that.
And sometimes it's probably better if we do it quietly, because the other day I got to work, and of course I thanked the Spirit for the parking place, but then when I got out, there was money in the meter, so I had to thank them for that, and I'm thanking them for the shade. Of course, then the shade came from trees, and birds pooped all over my car, but thank you for bird poop. But I'm thinking, if somebody sees me here talking to the parking meter, they're going to think that she's some kind of a nut.
Well, you can always say, oh, it's in my ear, I have a phone on, I have a phone call.
I'm talking to Spirit.
Right,
I'm
exactly.
connect. I don't even need the earbud. I'm talking to Spirit.
Right.
Anyway, well, thank you for coming to my studio, and thank you, Joan, for filming for
You're
us.
welcome.
And we'll see how this goes. And like I say to our watchers, if you are watching this, it means we'll do it again.
Yes, and I hope you all enjoyed it and had as much fun as we have.
See you next week.
Bye-bye.